Welcome to another new episode of the Get Organised with Decluttr Me podcast with myself, Shelina. I hope you're well wherever you are in the world. Today we're talking about a space we often neglect when it comes to decluttering: our cars. If you're someone who spends a lot of time driving, whether it's commuting, doing the school run or road tripping, the state of your car can often mirror the chaos or calm of your life. Do you have a few rogue receipts, bottles of water rolling around, and perhaps an embarrassing number of crumbs wedged between the seats? Don't worry, we've all been there. Today, I'm going to walk you through some practical steps to help you declutter and organize your car and keep it tidy for the long run. So let's start. Now, why is this important? Well, first of all, we spend so much time in our cars these days that it can feel like a second home. When you're driving in a space that's cluttered and disorganized, it can lead to unnecessary stress. Imagine being stuck in traffic surrounded by takeaway containers, old sunglasses, and an odd bit of paper you can't quite remember why you kept. It's not just a distraction, but a mental burden as well. When your car is clean and organized, it can make you drive more peaceful and help you focus on the road. And it also makes it easier to keep track of important things like your insurance documents or that reusable shopping bag you always need at the supermarket. So let's start with the process. The first step is to do a full clean out. Now, this might sound a bit intense, but trust me, it's the best way to really get a handle of what's in your car. Now, I usually say do a mini declutter on when we're decluttering and organizing, but for this, it has to be the full clean out. So empty out every compartment, every pocket, the boot, and don't forget the glove box. Get everything out into the open so you can see what's piling up, and you might be surprised by what you find. Once everything is out, give it a good clean. Grab the Hoover, wipe down the dashboard, and maybe even give the windows a little bit of shine with some Clorox, or no, what's it called? What's that? Windex, not Clorox, Windex. This gives you a blank slate to work with, and it's much easier to organize a space when it's clean and clutter-free from the chaos. Next, sort and categorize. So now that you've emptied your car, it's time to sort through everything you've pulled out. Start by categorizing the items into groups such as essentials, non-essentials, and rubbish. For example, your car essentials might include things like your car manual, your insurance papers, an emergency kit, sunglasses, tissues, and water. Non-essential items like gym clothes, random CDs that you haven't listened to in years. Does anyone still use CDs these days? And rubbish is, rubbish. So throw everything into a bin, into a recycle bin, and get it all out. Expired parking tickets, takeaway cups, petrol receipts. If you don't need to claim back the petrol, you shouldn't need to have the receipts. So once you've sorted everything out, dispose of the rubbish straight away. For the non-essential items, consider if they really need to be in your car. Can they be stored elsewhere? Perhaps your gym bag can go in a more permanent spot in your home, so it's only in the car when you actually need it. Next, I want to talk about zoning. So I've talked about zoning in the kitchen, and we're going to do it in the car as well. So you want to organize the items you've decided to keep in the car into specific zones. For example, the glove box can be your paperwork zone, where you keep things like the car manual, your insurance, and a small notepad and pen. The boot can be your storage for larger items like an emergency kit, the shopping bags, or maybe even a blanket for picnic or the beach or trips. Make sure that everything has a designated place. So when you're in the car, you know exactly where to find it. And you want to be able to find it in less than 5 seconds moving forward. And also put it back into its place once you've taken it out. So on the side of where I drive, on the bottom bit in the compartment, I put the tissues there because I always need a tissue because I've always got a runny nose, especially from dust when working. So I have those tissues easy to grab and get them. And the same with water bottles. So there's spaces for extra water bottles. And because I'm always thirsty, I always need to drink water while I'm driving, especially when it's long commutes to, say, Abu Dhabi or one of the other Emirates. Next, use organizational tools. So help maintain the organization in your car. You might want to invest in some storage solutions. Things like boot organizers or backseat organizers can work wonders for keeping your car tidy, and especially when you have kids and you have to move around and take them on, especially with school runs and stuff. There's so many clever options out there right now. Collapsible boxes, seat back pockets for the kids' toys, or even small bins for rubbish. The key is to choose the tools that work for you and your lifestyle. If you're constantly on the go with the kids, backseat organizers are great, because they've got all those little compartments, so you can even put snacks in there, wipes, toys. It's a lifesaver. If you travel for work, a simple document holder might be all you need. I have made a list of my favorite organizers that I found in Amazon. So if you click on the link in the bio, you can check them all out. The great thing is, once you've invested in these tools, it becomes much easier to keep your car clutter-free, and you've given everything a home, so there's less chance of clutter creeping in. Now that you've done the hard work, it's all about maintaining the organization. The easiest way to do this is by incorporating a quick tidy into your routine. Every time you get into the car, take a couple of minutes to grab any rubbish or items that don't belong there. You can even do a quick scan before you pull up at your destination. A weekly or bi-weekly cleanout can also help keep things in check. It doesn't have to be a big chore, just a quick clean to make sure that everything is in its proper place, everything is clean, and you've removed items that don't need to be there anymore. Let's not forget about the boot, or trunk as they say in America. So this area can easily become a dumping ground for all sorts of things. Shopping bags, sports equipment, and random items that don't seem to have a home anywhere else. One of my top tips is to use a boot organizer or collapsible crate to keep things neat. You could also keep a basket in the boot for items that need to go back into the house so things don't get left in the car for weeks on end. Another thing to keep in mind is to adjust the contents of your car based on the season. For instance, during winter, you might want to have an ice scraper and some extra blankets handy, whereas in the summer, you could swap these for sunshades and a picnic blanket. By regularly reviewing what you keep in your car, you ensure that it stays functional and clutter-free all year round. So there you have it, an easy step-by-step guide to decluttering and organizing your car. It might seem like a big job at first, but once you break it down and tackle it step by step, it's actually quite manageable. And the best part, a tidy car can make your drive more enjoyable and stress-free, whether you're heading to work, dropping the kids off at school, or taking a weekend trip. I really hope you found this episode useful today. If you've got any more tips or ideas for keeping your car organized, feel free to share them with me on social media or in the comments of this episode. I love hearing from you, and as always, if you need more support with your decluttering journey, I'm here to help. Don't also forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who might need a little help with decluttering their car. Take care, and I'll speak to you next week. Bye.